evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night, good whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark for December 28th, 2017. I am, of course, your narrator supreme, Mr. Robb Robot Shlomo from Shabby Road Studios. With me, as always, is Mr. Tom Connors.
This is like our old schedule.
Yeah,
it's Thursday. It's weird. Hey, how are you doing today?
Hey, we don't need fiber to be regular, okay? That's one thing.
Fiber optics, yes.
Fiber optics, yes. Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's we have a cold snap here in the Northeast.
We do here as well, yes.
Yeah, if you're out there, you're in the Northeast, stay warm.
I think it was -8 last night.
Oh yeah, it was. I started the car this morning. It was 4. I think it was 4. So, well, yeah. If you have pets, please, for the love of God, bring them in.
Yeah, my cat who likes to escape all the time, which I'm sure I've mentioned him before, but his name is Asshole, and it's a well-earned name. He likes to try and sneak outside. He's not an outside cat, though, but he's gotten out from time to time. I think you remember one time I was looking for him for about a day or two a while back.
Yeah.
But anyway, the 2 times that he snuck out since it's been cold here, he literally gets outside about 2-3 feet and says, fuck this, and turns right back around.
Smart cat. So anyway, we got a bit of a brief show for you. Not much going on as we get prepared to say sayonara to 2017. Complete and utter
crazy year.
Yes, and good riddance, really. So Tom, what do we got for our top story today?
Well, actually, before we get to our top story, one of our top stories from last week, we have to actually do a retraction. We don't normally do these in the actual show because normally it's just 1 or 2 minor details we screw up, so I'll just pin a note to the top of the comments in the video. But this time, we felt it necessary to actually say up front that the Batman Ben Affleck story that we got last episode was actually a recirculated old rumor. Now, that doesn't mean it's not necessarily true, but all we're saying is, for right now, just take it with a very, very large grain of salt because it was a recirculated rumor. But again, we do reiterate that it does match up with some other rumors we've heard, so that does not mean it's not necessarily true, but I wouldn't go betting on it yet,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And until Warner Brothers really says anything either about it, we don't know yet, because it's still been up in the air even before we did this report whether or not Ben was coming back. I mean, there have been talks and rumblings of a younger actor taking on the role. We have discussed that, and that's a very big possibility yet. So, of course, we'll keep you guys informed on that, but we just wanted to make sure you guys had the heads up on that specific one because, like I said, normally it's 1 or 2 details we're off on. This instance, we just want to make sure you guys know it's an older rumor, not too old, but old enough to where, yeah,
he might come back, he might not. Who knows? We get nothing official, so like I said, take it with a grain of salt. We're sorry. So that's.
We do the news. It's like reported. A lot of it's rumor. That's the reason we do this podcast. It's more laid back. Some of it's opinion. We just kind of talk about the news that's out there. We save the hard edge, investigative shit for the mini documentaries, and Andre does for his editorials and stuff like that. We just like to be able to have these to be able to talk about the stuff that's out there that, is current.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we got that out of the way. Well, let's go on to the main news. Dateline Hollywood.
Well, here's another one that we may have to print a retraction about. Who knows? So we're going to take this one and a complete rumor. Disney has not commented one way or another as of this recording on this, but supposedly 2 images leaked out that are meant to be variations on the Solo Star Wars movie, however you want to fucking call it, the Han Solo movie. And you've seen the posters. I'm going to actually put the picture up this time. I know it's a rarity, but it's actually part of the main story, so it's part of our picture. So you see it right there, guys. People are thinking that this is the actual theatrical poster. I'm not so sure. Yeah. I'm not even 100% sure if it's legit.
Yeah, we were talking about before. It kind of looks like a collector's cup concept art. So
yeah, or something you get on your popcorn tub.
Yeah, coming to a 7-Eleven near you. Your Han Solo Chewbacca-sized Slurpee or whatever,
Yeah, there's just certain things. Speaking of Chewbacca, that's one of the things that really feels off about the picture if you look at it. He feels just kind of off as opposed to the way the rest of the characters look. I mean, I kind of get the design they're kind of going for, but if this is anything like I said and you said, other than maybe a cup design or something like that, I really hope this isn't what they're going with for the theatrical campaign.
I gotta think it's fan art. That's what I first said. This looks like fan art.
There are a lot of people that are believing that this is leaked poster art for the film. I really don't think so. And even if it is, like we said, it's for something else. It's for some kind of promotional material, and it's definitely not poster art, because if this is what they're going with, then I really have no faith.
When are we gonna see a trailer for Han Solo? You think we're gonna see a Super Bowl spot, or?
Well, it's kind of funny you mention that. There was a story that just come out, and we might as well bring it up here. There was somebody who claimed, and of course, again, take this with a grain of salt, that they seen the teaser trailer for Solo, and they gave some descriptions of what they saw in the trailer, and one of those things was the dice. The infamous dice that we see in The Last Jedi that are handed to Leia that disappear, and I guess are hanging in the Millennium Falcon through all 3 of the original trilogy films. So that's a good possibility that this is a real breakdown. The person also said that there was Wookiees being transported. It's a probably good chance that this is exactly what you just said. We might be getting a Super Bowl trailer, because it's been long enough that The Last Jedi will be out by the time the Super Bowl comes. If there's any place that they're probably going to drop something like that, I can see it being the Super Bowl. Like I said, you can search it out. There's a little bit more description of what's in the trailer. I don't want to get into it too much in case people don't want to be spoiled on it, but we don't even know if it's real.
Yeah,
it sounds like it is, though, because of what we figured the story is going to be about. But
yeah, I'm looking at on the web right now, trying to find a picture of the dice. There are a couple pictures of Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon with the dice over his head.
Yeah, well, somebody had claimed this. I'm not 100% sure on that, so I should say that. Somebody had claimed that the dice are hanging in the Millennium Falcon, almost like, you know, fuzzy dice would be in a Camaro, I assume. But I guess they're supposedly there. So yeah. I'm wondering if these aren't the dice that he used all the time. They're probably his special dice or something. I'm sure, assuming he's a gambler and a whatever, and you know, this movie's supposed to be about him meeting Chewie and getting the Millennium Falcon and all that kind of shit, and it's supposed to have a gangster feel to it.
Well, the story that in The Empire Strikes Back is that he won the Millennium Falcon from Lando.
Correct.
Hey, I won it fair and square. You know, maybe that's the dice he won.
Your ship.
Yeah, maybe those are the dice he won the Falcon with.
I'm thinking so. And Mundane Matt, actually, he did bring up the dice. He thought they were going to be a big part of the Han Solo movie and going forward, because he figured those symbolized something to do with Han.
Yeah.
So I think he's onto something there, and if that's true and that's what's in here, that's probably why they were set up so well in The Last Jedi, I guess.
Well, next time I watch the original trilogy, I'm going to have to keep an eye out for the dice, see if they actually turn up, because... Yeah, I hate to think that they're going to go and you know, CGI them in at this point.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there who can verify that for us, even put like a link to a picture down below in the comments or something, that'd be great. Because like I said, I don't know for sure, so yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. We've seen these movies how many times?
But those aren't the kind of details I'm usually looking for either.
Yeah. All right. Next up, what else we got today?
Well, that's our only real top story for the day. So, and we try to avoid Star Wars lately around here. So.
Can I just say something? Listen, guys, people are asking us about why aren't we talking about more Star Wars on this channel. We've been talking about it on the main channel. There's a roundtable on the main channel. If you want your fill of our Star Wars discussion, head over to the main channel. Okay, that's where we're trying to keep most of the discussion focused. But at the same time, we're getting kind of worn out on it. So...
It's just, it doesn't matter what you say. One person says you're being too hard on the film, the next person says you're being too easy on the film, and it just became something to where between the comments and everything else around us, I've gotten to a point where I'm kind of done with Star Wars, and it has very little to do with how I felt about the film, more so to do, and I brought this up in the roundtable too.
And you can easily find it on the main channel, and you can find it on this channel, and like I said, we have discussed it, so that's that. So ladies and gentlemen, for the roundup. Well, buckaroos, time to saddle up that horse and head on out to Barnford and have ourselves a roundup. Yeehaw! I wonder if I'm going to get any angry comments about that.
I don't know why you would.
Well, anyway,
of course, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. Have you seen this new movie, Bright, on Netflix yet?
Not yet. I've been thinking about it. I've seen the trailer. I've heard a lot about it, though.
Well, 11 million people in the U.S. have watched it in the first 3 days. This is from Deadline. Nielsen announced in October that it will measure Netflix viewership, and today the company is out with some numbers for the streamer's high-profile Will Smith movie Bright. The ratings giant noted that because Bright is a full-length movie, its data is different from other streaming video on-demand rating releases, including for the sophomore seasons of Netflix original dramas The Crown and Stranger Things. That said, the sci-fi actioner drew an average minute U.S. audience of 11 million TV viewers during its first 3 days on the service. Netflix tracks only TV viewership, not on other devices. The film launched on December 22nd on Netflix in the U.S. The movie is skewing younger so far on the demo side. Bright's first 3 days drew an average minute crowd of 3.9 million viewers ages 18 to 34 and 7 million in the 18 to 49 demographic. The gender split was 56 male and 44 female. Now, what is this viewer minute? How are it's any insight to that? Or I mean,
I am not entirely sure, unless it means that at least a minute of it was watched. I doubt it means that every minute that's how many people are watching it, because then obviously a lot more than 11 million people. It's obviously somehow how they figure their math. If somebody does know this, please let us know, because yeah, that's confusing. Because basically if you look at these numbers, what do these numbers mean? Okay, well, if you had an opening weekend, which is 3 days, and you had roughly 11 million people go see your movie at roughly $10 a ticket, you could probably guesstimate that this movie would have made probably about $100 million on its opening weekend. But there's another problem here. You can't really factor that because it's streaming to homes. So people are more likely to actually watch it because they already have access to it, as opposed to if they were looking at going to a theater to see this. How many people would actually, I guess what I'm asking or saying is, how many people will actually go to the theater to see this, as opposed to, oh, I can watch it at home, I'll watch it and check it out. And there's a difference there.
Yeah, and how many people are actually, how many other people are in the room watching? How many people are
well, there's all kinds of variations, yeah.
How many people are borrowing a friend's password, you know? And how many people are, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It just seems like there's a lot more questions this brings up, really.
What I know about film and how many people this kind of pulled in compared to how many people I think would actually go see it in the theater, considering the buzz it got, and how it is a bit of a polarizing film, because this is much like Last Jedi. Some people loved it, some people hated it, some people are like, it's nothing special. Of course, the big thing about it was written by Max Landis and directed by David Ayer. I haven't seen it yet. I plan on checking it out here pretty soon, so I'll let you guys know what I think when I do see it. But I really, if it was in theaters, I wouldn't have seen it getting much more than maybe 50, 60 million tops.
Yeah.
So to sit there and say, oh, well, if 11 million people watched it, if 11 million people went to the theater at roughly $10 a ticket, blah, 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 saying 100 million isn't a far off number. But like I said, you have to factor in how many people would actually drag their family out to go see this film in the theater, as opposed to sitting at home in the comfort of their home where they already have access to it on Netflix.
Yeah. I honestly would think this would make about 45 million. 44,
right. And I was being nice, but
like I said, we're gonna have to get more details on this, because it is a good question. What do they mean by average minute crowd? And if anybody out there has any insight to that, please let us know, because it sounds like one of those made up.
It's new jargon for us.
Yeah. Like like demand expressions. What the hell does that mean? So, well, we had that thing about Twitter and the Star Trek Discovery. They were measuring demand expressions, not how many actual subscribers CBS All Access had. And all that really measured was the social media traffic it was generating. And it could have been that people were saying, Star Trek Discovery sucks, fuck you, and and Star Trek Discovery is great.
Well, we've seen plenty of your tweets, but
so speaking of movies and crowds and what they gather, Sony, one of our favorite punching bags, they have moved their new movie Alpha to the fall, and they have bumped Goosebumps 2 to October. This comes to us from Deadline. Sony is moving Studio 8's Ice Age action title Alpha from Albert Hughes from March 2nd to September 14th. The survival film will now face off against MGM's Fighting with My Family. Hey, that sounds like my autobiography. So
sounds like most people's weekends, probably.
Yeah, Christmas at Rob's house. And 20th Century Fox is The Darkest Minds on its new date and won't face the latter studio's Jennifer Lawrence thriller Red Sparrow on its old date. In addition, Goosebumps 2, starring Jack Black, is moving closer to Halloween from September 21st to October 12th. So I saw the preview for Alpha when I think when I saw Thor Ragnarok. Doesn't look too horrible, but not really my kind of movie. You know, maybe I would watch it on Netflix or on cable, but
I'm not aware of it too much, but for a bump like that, tells me there's some fixing.
Yeah, they got to fix
needs to be done.
Well, okay. In a nutshell, the movie Alpha is about the origins of man's relationship with, and really the origins of man's relationship with dogs, and about a man who befriends a wolf. And as Neil deGrasse Tyson said in Cosmos, that's how our relationship with dogs started. Wolves would come around the campfire, we would throw them food, and they would keep away the predators, the larger predators. So, and this supposedly tells that story, tells a story like that. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
That's like 6 months, though. Yeah, if it was set to be released in March, that means they've been having test screenings. That means they must not be going well.
We'll find out more about that at some point.
Just guessing, but...
Now, we don't condone downloading.
No, what now?
No, we don't. We don't condone. We will not speak... We shall not speak of that here. No. But apparently, there are people who do download, and 3 movies that were part of award screeners have leaked online.
It's actually 4 now, Rob.
It's 4? Which number 4? Really? You don't know anything.
Billboards. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri also leaked.
Now, Tom, you don't know anything about that, do you?
Fuck no.
I, Tonya, Lady Bird, Call Me By Your Name, and now billboards have leaked online, and this is thanks to award screeners.
This happens every year, but
yeah,
go ahead, Rob, sorry.
The group calling itself Hive-CMA announced that it's released copies of 4 films, a gift for the Christmas holiday, according to Torrent Freak. On Christmas Eve, it released the drama Last Flag Flying, noting Christmas and Merry Christmas and stay tuned. A few hours later, the group distributed pirate copies of I, Tonya, Lady Bird, and Call Me By Your Name. So actually, it's 5 films now.
Oh, yes, I guess you're right, yes. But yeah, I just seen that just before we went on.
Yeah.
This group also appears to be the source of the leaked version of 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, so they just hadn't linked them to this yet, it looks like, in the version of the story you have here. Yeah. But yeah, and I have a feeling there's going to be more. This happens every year. They're
all buzzy award season titles, together with holiday greetings and an odd plug urging people to see the films in theaters. This group says, don't forget, watching a screener is not like the real thing. You should still go to the cinema and support the producers. The release notes read, we are especially sharing this for people who can't visit the cinema due to illness or because it is a limited release that doesn't make it to their country. So they're doing this for the international audience, really. So those people can also experience some award-nominated movies. Enjoy. The same group also appears to be the source of the leaked version of another awards hopeful 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, as you already noted, according to the posts on Reddit's piracy board. So like I said, we don't condone piracy. We encourage people to get to the cinema and to see movies, but be judicious about what you see. So anyway, we actually had a couple of people suggest there should be a Midnight's Edge film festival, which I
would love that.
I would be totally down for. We get the El Capitan Theater, and we send out some press passes. We tell a lot of the studio heads to kiss our ass. But anyway, but there is a new film festival in town. The Mammoth Film Festival. Mammoth Film Festival announced its first round of inaugural lineup. This comes to us from Deadline once again. The Mammoth Film Festival has unveiled the first round of films hitting the slopes for the inaugural fest, which will take place February 8th through the 11th. The film festival, the previously announced opening night, would premiere the indie thriller Josie, top-lined by Game of Thrones' Sophie Turner, Dylan McDermott, and Jack Kilmer. The festival also featured a world premiere of Tim Newfang's Sons of St. Clair, a documentary highlighting hip-hop group Bone Thugs and Harmony. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a rapper. So,
Are those his brothers?
Yes.
Thugs and Harmony?
Yes. It's going to be about the members Crazy Bone and Busy Bone. Jennifer Morrison will also screen her directorial feature film Sundogs, which was recently acquired by Netflix. The festival will feature panels, events, short films, including Josh Hutcherson's APE Vagabonds, starring Danny Glover, The Accomplice, starring Evan Peters, and more. On February 10th, the festival will present a celebrity charity bowling tournament benefiting Mammoth Media Institute. Bowlers will include Ashley Green, Kellen Lutz, Hutcherson, Eiza Gonzalez, Scott Hayes, Tom Welling, Josh Henderson, Luke Dingo Trimbath, Josh Henderson,
Superman's in
and
it.
more. Yes, Superman's going to be there. Yes, the Mammoth Film Festival is a project of filmmaker Tanner Beard. He's known for Terrence Malick's Song to Song, and Voyage of Time, and Night of Cups. To the 2017 Mammoth Film Festival it's going to be Mammoth Lakes, California. So they usually like these little out of the way places for film festivals. You know, kind of pump some money into a local town's economy.
One of my favorite episodes of South Park.
The Sundance Film Festival, yeah.
With Mr. Hanky.
That was good. That was a good one.
Independent films are those black and white hippie movies. They're always about gay cowboys eating pudding.
and then a few years later, we got Brokeback Mountain.
Exactly.
The prophecy of South Park has been fulfilled. We have some sad news, actually. We've lost a few people. A few people you might know, some people you might not know. Jim Burns. Now, if you don't recognize that name, he was the co-creator of MTV Unplugged. For a lot of younger kids, that is when real musicians used to play real instruments on television. So,
well, I guess this one hit the music industry pretty hard, I guess, from what it seemed like.
Yeah, he was 65 years old. Nirvana was a legendary performance on Unplugged. I remember the very first MTV Unplugged featured Squeeze, and they actually showed up. They had no idea what the show was about, and they actually had to go. They actually borrow guitars to play that night. So.
There's some classic Unplugged though. Kiss, Eric Clapton,
Neil Young.
Yeah.
One MTV Unplugged that never aired actually was with Elvis Costello. That never made it to air.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Because it was at the time of the Gulf War, and he had made some comments about the Gulf War, and one of the big sponsors of at MTV at the time was the U.S. Army, so that could not stand with them. So.
But no, I remember sitting there wondering for years, I'm like, where did Unplugged go? Why did they stop doing that? And then I remember the kind of people who are making music anymore. And I'm like,
yeah, there you go. So anyway, Jim Burns, co-creator of MTV Unplugged, has left us, age 65. Heather Menzies Urich. If you don't recognize that name, she played Louisa in The Sound of Music. She has left us. She was also on episodes of Dragnet. She was on the TV series Logan's Run. She has passed on due to cancer at age 68. And Rosemarie, for you younger kids, you don't recognize that name, go watch Nick at Night. She was one of the stars of the...
They don't show that on Nick at Night anymore, dude. No, they show shit like Full House on Nick at Night.
Well, anyway, Rosemarie, she was one of the stars of the Dick Van Dyke Show, Broadway, and in films, she was 94.
Netflix it, that's what you say now. I think it's on Netflix.
Well, it might be on CBS All Access because it was a CBS show. So we never like to end on a down note. We have some birthdays to announce for this day, December 28th, the day we're recording. Noomi Rapace, very lovely Swedish actress. She turns 42. Denzel Washington, star of many films, star of Fences, star of The Equalizer, star of many films, turns 63. Sienna Miller from G.I. Joe, she turns 36. Joe Manganiello. I like saying that name, Joe Manganiello. He turns 41. John Legend, musician, talented guy, married to Chrissy Teigen. Giggity. He turns 39. Late night host comedian Seth Meyers. He turns 44. And two birthdays that are very near dear to my heart. Stan the Man Lee. He turns...
Excelsior.
He turns 94. Hopefully he'll be around.
Thought he turned 95.
Well, 94, 95.
Oh, you could be right.
Whatever it takes.
I thought it was 95.
Whatever. Well, no, you remember Mr. Wom? 94, 95, whatever it takes. Yeah. So, Stan Lee celebrating a birthday today. And my nephew, James, turns 2 this day.
What'd you get your nephew?
I got him a couple Elmo books that him and his mom could read together.
There you go.
But for December 29th, actress Alison Brie, giggity. You know, if you don't recognize the name, she was in Glow on Netflix, and she played Annie on Community. And she turns 35. Very lovely actress, giggity. Alison Brie, if you're out there, call me. But anyway, I think she's engaged. I think her boyfriend will be pretty upset about that. But
I highly doubt she's listening. Just not to burst your bubble.
Yeah. Well, Alison Brie, if you're out there, drop a comment at the very least. So send us a tweet, drop a comment.
Can I say the next one?
Yes, please.
Diego Luna.
How old does he turn?
38.
Yes. Jude Law, British actor.
Yeah.
My choice to play the Silver Surfer. He turns 45. Mary Tyler Moore was born this day on December 29th, 1936.
Make it after all. No, cut. We had our 4 bars, man.
John Voight. Angelina Jolie's dad, owner of the John Voight car from Seinfeld. He turned 79. And Ted Danson, Sam Malone of Cheers fame, he turned 70. Those are our birthdays. And if you're having a birthday out there, please have a happy and safe one. And if you like the channel and you want to hear more of what we do, then why don't you click that subscribe button? Isn't that right, Tom?
That is right indeed. And also, if you want to really help us out here and you're a real big fan of the channel, tell them what they can do, Rob.
You can support the channel through Patreon. Patreon subscribers will get all kinds of benefits. Everybody got early access to the Star Wars Roundtable this past week, didn't they?
That was our little Christmas present. It was, I think, like 12 hours earlier, a little bit more than that. So I thought, fuck it, it's Christmas. Let's make it for every Patreon. So you'll get stuff like that sometimes. But otherwise, yeah, there's various tiers. You get the latest news on some of the lowest tiers. And then you also get Beyond the Edge, the making of Midnight's Edge, an ongoing series from Andre and us here at the channel, telling you all the ins and outs and how the channel became what it is today. You also get early access to, as we said, any mini documentary and editorials and roundtables and all the kinds of good stuff.
Yes, and like I said, and I always say, if you don't have the means to support us through Patreon, please click subscribe, click the bell icon, share the video with friends, because we cannot do this without you. Because, like I said, those Disney checks ain't coming, people. Trust me when I say this.
Ain't no checks coming. Even YouTube ain't been sending shit for checks lately.
Yeah. So anyway, one more time, I am your Narrator Supreme, Rob Robot Shlomo.
And I am Tom Connors.
And if we don't see you before then, please have a happy and safe New Year. Don't drink and drive, and we will catch you next time.